Brad, what's going on today?
Scott, as always, thank you for the wonderful intro on this Wednesday Q&A August 4th webinar. I've already tested Brad's mic, so no need for that. Everything is good. Ladies and gentlemen, we certainly appreciate your attendance today. And today's theme of the Q&A is going to be a lot more Q. We're going to interact with you. We do have some stuff to show you and discuss, of course, but let's get going. First, the disclaimer that Trade Ideas is not a registered investment advisor. Please understand that all the information you're going to receive is for educational and informational purposes only and never ever to be construed as any kind of formal advice to buy or sell stocks. So we're still knee deep in the new version. Lots of stuff going on. And of course, when you develop the way that we develop, and you guys, I think, know this, there's lots of stuff that we're figuring out. Number one, there's been some memory issues and some performance issues. They're being worked on as we speak, and they will hopefully be resolved soon. But August is traditionally a very hot month. So lots of stuff is going on. And you guys kind of get to experience it along with us. And let's face it, if you're not having fun doing a little experimenting and stuff like that, then what's it all for? So enjoy the ride. We are. And again, obviously support is there for you to help you resolve most of these issues. As Scott mentioned in the intro, we have a test drive coming up. We're now scheduling the test drives bi-monthly. That means once every 2 months, for those of you that don't know what bi-monthly means. Brett?
Thank you for that. I now know.
I had to clear that up. And this test drive is $11.11. We like to use our own numbers. And you should sign up for it if you are on the fence, or tell your buddy or your enemy. It really doesn't matter. Trade-ideas.com/test drive is where you want to go for that. So I'm going to minimize the presentation and kind of jump into something that sort of should be obvious and is behind the scenes, but not behind the scenes. I'm on the Omni AI channel, and as Brad and I believe, mentioned on the last Q&A, we're going to be doing some changes. We're moving away from the 3 channels and then the summary, which is what you're seeing now, and kind of consolidating everything into one channel. I'm going to do a little bit of a redesign, make it easier for you to see, but this way, I think it's cleaner, it's simpler, it's easy, and we want to get you quicker to the path of least resistance in terms of your returns. This is an incredible example of course, the software doing what it's designed to do. Now, it doesn't win all the time, but obviously you can see that when the market's going down, it's playing the downside, which it plays a little bit of the upside as well, and does the re-entries. So here I'm in conservative mode, up 11%, and that's just the cumulative percents tallied together. That's not like a return. It's how many percentage points did we catch, pluses and minuses, okay, as if this was one investment. So you have moderate of 4.72%, and aggressive today was the payoff at 14% of return. How did these shares come up? Well, you can see that over here in this window. On every share, I have a setting of $7,700 per trade. And today the win rate was 55.6%. I believe that's in the aggressive setting. See if that changes. No, I think that's in, right, Brad? That doesn't change. That's the overall.
It's the aggressive setting. That's the on, that indicated by the on.
Oh, yeah, I forgot, right here.
No. Below the chart right there. Below that, there's that little on button right there. Yeah, so that's letting you know right there that.
Got it. I have to take Brad's class on the side. Okay, so at the aggressive profit level, which is the highest level, there was a 55.6% winner. It's because of this. And we are also have a really cool redesign for this whole window. The whole Trade Ideas AI experience is going to be improving dramatically. It's just that we've done so many different things that it's kind of just queued up. Okay, so as again, I'm in the docking window. I'm testing everything out here. And this is a docking window with a channel bar in the said docking window. Okay, of course, I want to take you through a couple of these trades just so you can visualize them and see them. This was, I believe, the best one, and it was a short, okay, on a stock that was at $3.68. And sometimes people get scared of this, but there's incredible opportunities in terms of percentage points here. So it fell from 368 to 318 out kind of perfectly, Brad, on lows. And the reason you had 2,092 shares obviously is because my setting has it for $7,700. There's lots of different ways you can set this, and I've explained this before, where if you go to options and you go to AI trade size, one of the other psychologically potent ways to teach yourself how to invest and to be an active money manager is from the perspective of losses. It's managing your losses. So I can say, I don't want to lose more than 200, whoops, can't type, $200 per trade. And based on the stops that I'm going to put in, okay, it's going to adjust my share size accordingly. Did I do that right? I might have messed up.
I don't think so.
Oh,
You did
I did
shares
that
per trade.
per share. Sorry. $200 per trade right at the bottom. Thanks for the catch. Save. Now watch again as it shifts all the share sizes, but of course your profits are going to be different. So you can also then now, going through this exercise, okay, you can say to yourself, well, what does the best? Certainly in this case, if we just go through, we see this at $200 risk per trade, okay, at 200 shares per trade. So you win a little bit more if you did it just share based, but then if you split it by how much you invest, the same amount per, and that's kind of a standard, more of a standard thing, you really win much more in this case. So once again, the software is teaching you something. I believe it's on our homepage. We are the only software that teaches you through the repetition of the proper techniques how to execute a game plan in the software, in the money management of it. Okay, so let me go back to our questions real quick. And what I want to do is I want to open the mic up to you guys, and let's start off with some questions, because again, we talk a lot about stuff. Brad and I have a strategy for you all, but I want to let's hear what you guys want to talk about. So Brokerage Plus does not cost more for a subscription. It's included in both premium and standard versions. The question is, can the Brokerage Plus trade your AI? Hey Brad, how do I get these dummies to stop throwing things into my, do I have to turn off Skype?
Yeah, there's a setting on your image in the upper left corner of Skype that you can change to do not disturb, and then you don't get any pop-ups coming through.
Okay, that's a good idea.
So yeah, let me just add on that Brokerage Plus. So every subscription, premium and standard, comes with Brokerage Plus, but you'll need the premium subscription if you want to go ahead and automate either your own strategy that you create and optimize, or one of Holly's strategies. So or the whole portfolio of strategies that Holly has. So to automate it, you need premium, but everybody gets access to Brokerage Plus, including the simulator. So that's a real powerful component in the software that allows you to really learn how to do things with the software without risking your own capital, and really get more out of it. Learn how to size yourself appropriately if you're somewhat new to the game of trading.
Right. I've talked at length over, pretty much the last 6 or 7 months that we believe the simulator is the key to your success, because without practice, you do not catch a feel, and without feel, you do not learn anything. Like most endeavors of excellence, trading is something that requires feel. The truth of the matter is that the less you think when you trade, the better. And by the way, this is psychology of virtually any high-level professional thing. I guarantee you that the basketball players on the Olympic team or the pro golfers in the tournaments, when they're playing the tournaments, they're keeping as blank a mind as possible and are just in the moment, in what's called the flow state. You cannot get to the flow state by looking at a chart and thinking about indicators and which indicator you should push or whatever, which is why I typically don't even have them on. I want my eyes to instinctively tell me what to do, and I want to be able to react to it, okay? So as we've talked about before, there's a standard way that a lot of these things are done. And here, once again, we have the heart, and I'm on the AI channel, so I'm now adding AI trades to stocks that I like, the ones that I think are interesting, okay? And this is a standard procedure that I've taught you guys over and over and over again. So let me look at what Rick has to say. Would it be possible to build something that looked for stocks with a 4% increase in the first 5 minutes, 10 minutes, 15 minutes? So there's, Rick, yes, we have something called an opening range breakout, but we also have percentage increase moves for those time periods, I believe, as well. So the answer to questions that are of this nature, and we talk about this also in other Q&A webinars, is that you want to go to a support forum and ask that, and somebody should be able to give you literally a strategy that's all pre-made with these settings. There's nothing that we really cannot do. The only thing that we don't do is kind of get into the specifics of the indicator genre, because as we've said before, you've been taught to like it, but there is no scientific proof that it actually works. There are no hedge funds that use indicators to win. By the way, if you didn't know that, congratulations, you just found out something new. No, and Rick, it's a great, we love that you're here, and it's a great question to ask, and especially for others. The support concept and how we support our software is #1 in the industry. We have a whole slide for it. I mention it usually towards the end of the Q&A. But Brad and I on the Q&A with the stars, right, Brad? We kind of do a little bit more high level, okay? One of the things, for example, that I like to do is showcase like some use cases that I myself have figured out. And one of them is like the way that we've redone the single stock window. So here EBK came up as a short on AI. And I've split the single stock window into news at the bottom and then similar stocks to the right. So that allows me to kind of look at similar concepts. What's going on? And as a result, then again, I may find similar moves to like this one, okay? But possibly larger point moves, you know, it just depends on what you want to do, but certainly you can see. And that's one of the things that I love about the similar tab, Brad, is how powerful it is in terms of getting just a bigger perspective. So EBK was a short, and it was a short that worked. So, and it was something that went up, but it turned around kind of quick. So here you can just start seeing other ones that could potentially be in the same situation. And if this worked, then possibly you can make mental notes and say, well, why wouldn't other stuff? So then you can just like it, okay? And then you can do something like this, where I'm going to zoom out real quick, because this ZUMZ is kind of breaking down, but I want to see more blood. And I say create price alert, and I'm going to say 38. And I'm going to put a note on here. And this is one of the ways that our notes work, is our notes are attached to alerts that you set yourself. And I'm saying panic mode in in retail. And the reason there's panic mode in retail is because everyone now thinks that they're going to close everything down again. So you can imagine all the places that have been opened and the malls and all that stuff. You're seeing some pressure on that. So that's the workflow scenario. And we do this with lots of different things. So here's CLDX, which is a different company. You know, completely different price points. What it's doing, it had a big gap down, and it was the number one. I mean, obviously here it's the biggest loser. Whoops, let's go over here. So here, let me bring up something that's doing something similar. PSN. But what about things that haven't gapped up as much? So this one's gap is a little bit less. So this is the point where it could be getting to. So once again, I can just come over here, create a price alert, and call it 25.55 and say breaking down like CDLX from AI. So these nodes become very convenient because then it kind of creates a mnemonic. Naveen, thank you very much. And these mnemonics are the way that you train your mind to react to things. Now, flexibility, of course, is important because remember, this stock did this before, broke through this level that I just said, but then turned around incredibly, right? So possibly that's another play. But the idea is that you're alerted and you're going to kind of see, and there's no reason to not try it both ways. That is the flexibility and beauty of the stock market, and especially if you're using the simulated trading that Brad and I talked about, where you can practice things that you might have not otherwise practiced and learn what it's like to get feedback on something that you're trying to achieve. I keep going back, Brad. Today, by the way, I went to the driving range before the Q&A.
Little therapy.
I was crying yesterday, much like I do when I look at my portfolio sometimes. But that's a healthy response to stress. And today, though, I was like, okay, I'm back, Mortimer. So I felt a lot better, and you couldn't do that without the practice. So once again, remember everyone, Brokerage Plus live and simulated. And let me go 1 second here. I'm gonna maybe bring it up. Whoops, I forgot that I was already on this one. I'm so funny. Okay. So I'm gonna expand Brokerage Plus here. Bear with me. And see, I've got a portfolio of stuff that I trade in simulated trading mode. Okay, you can see. And I have different simulated trading accounts. One where I'm following the AI. I don't do it all the time, but this way I break it up. This one's called chart trading. So that's where I'm doing things off of the charts, which I'll show you in a second. And again, we're improving that big time. Then there's one called shorts are in panic mode. So that's when stocks with a large short float are running, and right now they're kind of not running, they're running down. And I blame that on the criminals at Robinhood, but Brad, you saw that from my
Of course you do.
If you guys thought that the stock market was fair, come on.
No, you definitely have to be a little flexible.
That's right. So Mohammed was asking why didn't Trade Ideas trade NTCT, and I'm just going to pull it up here real quick. And the reason is that number one, it already had something in the sector, I believe. Okay, so CDLX was already its play. But the other thing is it doesn't trade. Now we are bringing a product, by the way, to market where you can tell the AI to trade any stock for you, and it will basically kind of do a quick, $6 million man music soundtrack, do 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 do, and analyze all the data and say, okay, we're about to go. Are you sure? And then you say yes or no, and it will trade whichever stock you want for you. But that's not quite ready yet. We're heading towards that. again, lots of things in the pipeline. There is no finish line. And we are taking it definitely to the next level. You can say trade Tesla, trade Netflix, or of course trade NTC. You can even say, again, a basket of stocks, and it will do that for you. So a different type of AI, where instead of right now, where the AI is something that picks the stocks for you through statistical analysis, which is tantamount to what is done at the card counters in blackjack. So the software is working on a card counting type mathematical system. It's doing a lot of number crunching that we adapted from a blackjack card counting to the stock market. But very soon you'll be able to create a little basket of your stocks yourself, or go one at a time and just kind of say, hey, AI, this is what I want you to do. I want you to trade the biggest gainers today, and it will. So lots of cool flexibility and things that that you will be able to do. These are the things that we like to kind of talk about on our Q&A, because this is the direction where it's going, this ultimate flexibility to be the type of trade point interface system regardless of style. Because obviously the AI is not stylistically for everyone's taste, because many of you just simply have never heard of these stocks, and most people have been trained to trade like Apple, buy Apple, sell Apple, buy Netflix, sell Netflix. And these are things that are, again, done in the system for different reasons, but we have never subscribed to that, but yet we want to have the flexibility to allow you all to do it, and we will. Okay, let's keep going with the questions. So Rick, no, you would not have to. So the way we're doing this, and again, we're kind of removing the 3 AIs, and let's just simplify it to 1 AI that knows exactly what to do for whichever style that you have. We want you to think less, choose less. Not that you can't choose, but your decisions should be more of the executive chairman decision, which is go or no go, not the details at like the COO or middle management level, like, well, how many shares, da, 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 da. These are all things you're going to do ahead of time, and then it's executed for you. The idea is to be the most efficient, and you can practice this stuff in simulated mode, as I think you guys have asked before, where in simulation you can really pinpoint the software to, again, either do something that you design yourself. By the way, you can be your own AI. Brad, you have a sim strategy for that today, right? Maybe?
I was working on it, but I had a few problems, so.
That's okay. I'll make one up from scratch.
On the fly?
On the fly. And I'll show you guys how to do it. I'm going to show you how you don't have to think too hard about concepts, and maybe we'll just start right there. So as you know, we all started with trade ideas alerts. So I'm going to go to new, and I'm going to go to alert window. Lots of things you can do there, but the first option is start from scratch. So you guys are now in the full driver's seat. There's nothing that is selected. So I'm going to go to search, and I'm going to find something that I know everybody looks at, which is the 200-day moving average. I'm going to click here. Whoops. I'm going to click here, and I'm going to say add this alert. Okay, so show me stocks that have crossed below the 200-day moving average. That's the alert that I'm looking for. Now, I'm going to specify some things. So in this particular case, I want stocks that are, because I'm going to be going short, hypothetically speaking. So I'm going to say $10 minimum, maybe $200 maximum. Now that's a function of money, okay? You can look at volume. So I'm going to say volume here. And there's lots of different things that we do with volume. Okay, relative volume, volume today. So I'm going to add both. Add a filter. I'm going to say minimum relative volume of 3. And volume today and share size. Like, how many shares would I have liked to have for it to have traded before I even considered going in? So I'm going to say 1 million. These are very, very basic things. I'm going to go to summary, and I'm going to say everyone follows the 200-day. I'm going to hit OK. And here it is, beautifully positioned. This is what it would look like, by the way. Okay, so that's what these things look like. So now I'm going to right click and I'm going to back test the strategy. And this is where a little bit of the savvy comes in. So I say, now remember I'm on West Coast time and I'm showing you this as a thought train in real time so that you can see how, first of all, simple it is to contemplate. So what I'm saying is that I'm going to wake up and get some coffee. By the time I get coffee, I'm not going to be trying to get into trades the first 30 minutes because it's so volatile. So my first trade for me to start testing, I'm going to start at 7 a.m. But I also know how the market works. So I'm not going to enter new trades after 11. I mean, and this is a preference. You can say 12. We'll make it a little bit bigger. Notice you can just drag and you can even move it via cursor. So this is my entry window between 7 a.m. and 12 p.m. on the West Coast. Okay. I can add risk management, but in this case, I'm not, because what I'm trying to do is I'm trying to look at the prevailing winds. Then I'm going to say, how long do I hold this trade? Now, look, guys, this is where we discuss the thesis of the word day trading, which is kind of ridiculous because a trade should be a function of risk management. If you're making money, like if you got into this trade at whatever this price is, looks like 32, and you're at 25 right now, you better not be exiting because it could go to zero. They've taught you to try to jump the gun and quickly get out, and that's where day trading got invented. It's simply because there is enough volatility in things like Tesla and Amazon, and beforehand it was the internet stocks, where you could time and make a lot of swing moves during the day. But I guarantee you that the more you get crazy with that, the harder it becomes. So what I'm going to do instead is look at the prevailing winds, try to figure out which way is this trade going. Remember, we're shorting the 200-day moving average. Okay, so I'm going to go and get out at market close, and this is where I can test it for, let's call it like 2 weeks. Let's call it 17 days, Brad. We like that, don't we?
It's a good number.
Yeah. And so here you can see trades, kind of summarize what we're doing. We're testing the 200-day moving average. We're holding it for 17 days, and we're going to test 30 days worth of data. Okay, simulate sell. Let's take a look. Okay, 29 trades total. And again, we're going to show you how you can possibly, see what's going on. So in this particular case, I'm kind of disclosing that although I thought that based on the recent action, this would have been better, it doesn't look as good as it seems. Even though you are in a winning position, 58% winners on these 29 trades, but your average loser to average winner is terrible. Okay, so let's run it again. Okay, and let's see if we can do some changes. Let's modify this a little bit. One of the things we can do is say, well, maybe I need to hold for less time. So we'll go for 7. Okay, so these are easy things you can do. And I'm not saying that they're going to work. I'm just saying this is how some of this stuff is done. So you can kind of quickly process lots of information and then see, should this be where you put effort? And notice that I'm just, once again, doing what we've discussed all the time. I'm at the range right now, but I'm at the range post-market. Whereas the simulated trading, that's like you're at the range and you're hitting your driver and you hit the 3-wood and the pitching wedge. This is the analysis of it. I'm at the range, but with trade ideas, you can be at the range after the market closes. So I'm looking and I'm saying to myself, well, you know what? Interestingly enough, this isn't as bad as I thought it was. Brad, right? We've been looking, it looks like the market's been kind of getting weak and all this stuff, but this sort of tells you it's not as weak as it looks. So then you can do another funny, simple thing. Remember, we hit simulate sell. What if we hit simulate buy?
And this just shows you how difficult the market is, right?
Well, absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. But at least, you know, the idea is, remember Warren Buffett says, buy when there's blood on the streets, right? It seems like this case, the way to approach this shot is more of a trying to pick up these panic sells versus trying to pounce on the panic sells. Now, hold on one moment, okay? Let's hold this thought and this train of thought. So we're going through this analysis of how we analyze data, how the AI does it, okay? And remember, we can configure this, and right now we have this set up as the 200-day moving average, but I'm going to search, call it the 20-day, because you want to have more than one thesis going on. You want to kind of understand, maybe, you know, it's too much, okay? So now we have this one, and let's back test this strategy, and let's do the exact same thing. We're going to go back to selling it. I want you guys to see the exercise that that I'm going through, so that you can understand where the whole idea of trade ideas kind of came from. You know, we have this calendar where you can see what's going on. So this is where you refine your thought process. Trade ideas is a mental exercise. Although we watch everything during market hours and we give you this insight, this is a way to teach your brain. It's a brain computer synthesis where you learn things that you otherwise would never be able to do, because look at what I've done. Okay, I've created strategies and instantly gave myself feedback, and I can go to this alert window. Oops, let me close this up. And I can, once again, and Brad is actually amazing at the optimization of it, but I'm keeping it super simple, and I can say, well, you know what? Maybe, Brad, 3 is too much. I want more data. How about just 1.5? Means 50% more than normal. And let's see if that changes anything. So go back to backtest the strategy and simulate buy.
I like that approach. And you can also then use the optimization tab to just focus in on the relative volume afterwards and see if you want to do any additional filtering.
Right. So here, kind of crapshooty. Okay, 314 trades. So the relative volume actually helped you. And that's, once again, one of these things. Then you could say to yourself, if you really want to clear it up, or not clear it up, but test more. What if you said something like 10? You would really make this a 10, but remove the volume restrictions. So again, hopefully you can see what I've done here, and duplicate the strategy and say, again, I'm going to try simulate buy. You're trying to find the diamonds in the rough. Brad, I love how we said that. Okay. And these things that I've done, and notice how there's an optimization tab, and there's so many different ways you can approach it. The calendar that's telling you how you're performing. Incredible stuff, really. And you can always change little things here. You can say to yourself, okay, well, what about this? So when we do our AI, the computer kind of does most of this for you, but I'm showing you that when you think about, well, how are these guys going to be able to create a rule-based system just for any stocks on the fly? And what I'm showing you is this is what's under the hood, ladies and gentlemen. This is what's powering so much stuff. And you've never seen this. I mean, the guys that are old school here with us, of course, have. But what I'm saying is that you have never seen this on a trade station. This is called event-based testing. Let's make it more interesting. Okay. Let's take an alert here. Okay. And let's do something like this, where we say select alerts, and I'm gonna do what's called a standard deviation breakout. I'm gonna say 2. This is a mathematical term. I'm gonna have to change this up real quick and get rid of the hide unused and get rid of this one. So what I'm showing you here is the 2 standard deviations. we track all the math behind the scenes. And again, I'm not saying that all the math works, but I'm saying we track it. So when a stock is doing something that's just out of the ordinary, like in this case, EXP World. So first of all, once again, just a quick analysis. I did this quick alert, took a look at it, instantly found something that's Brad doing what? Something very unusual. It's up 10 standard deviations, right? That means some news broke out. Earnings and revenue surpass estimates. Notice how quickly we were able to get to the concept reason. I give it a like, add it to my stocks I like, okay? And then I'm gonna change to what else is going on here? What about some other ones? Maybe this one. Okay, now notice now I'm using my own AI. So maybe this one right here had been overdone here, okay? So I'm gonna right click, create an alert at 26 and say, could you have sold off too much? Yes. Let's call it 27.
Way to answer your own question.
You know how I do it, Brad. But I'm trying to show the escape from the indicator matrix and the entrance into the red pill of human and data interaction. I'm not doing anything fancy. I'm literally, I mean, call a doctor, but I'm talking to myself. But I'm saying,
You're talking to a few people, not just yourself.
correct. But you saw what I did. You know, we saw something with EXPI where this thing, which is a, what's its profile? Let's minimize this. Cloud-based real estate brokerage firm, right? Then I went to Nude, management, provision, business, financial. So obviously at least somewhat related, possibly, right? I mean, they're similar. And I'm just saying, could this do exactly what this did? It's that simple. And then I'm not going to miss it because I've added the alert to it and I put it on stock that I like. This is the way technology is supposed to work. You're not supposed to be there configuring Kelter channels. If that guy knew what he was doing, he wouldn't have channels. He'd just be quiet. You wouldn't know who he is. Notice how there's no Citadel channel, Brad. There's no Robinhood channel, and they're rich. But I digress. Okay, so here we're at this window where we have 2 standard deviations. Okay, I'm going to go to configure real quick. Windows specific filters. I don't need this 10 because the standard deviations kind of do it for you. So again, that's just me saying I want to test with a lot of data. Okay, let's just so you can see what it looks like on the day. Brad, Poppy like this one. Clicks, sets alert for. I really like it now. The reason I'm talking funny like this, guys, is so I want you to think to yourself, well, shit, if he wasn't saying anything fancy, I could talk to myself like that too. I wasn't going like, well, you know, the integral of this one, and the standard deviation. No, it's that simple. And by the way, notice where I made the alert above the, what's called, Brad, what's the word? Resistance. Okay, this is support, this is resistance. These are basic concepts. So let's go back to here. I'm going to back test this strategy. Same concept, 7 a.m., 7-11. Okay, I like the concept of 7 and 11. Timed exit, 7 days. Let's move it to 5, just for talking purposes, and simulate buy. And by the way, I'm not saying that I knew what was going to happen. A lot of times, in fact, if anything, I'm going to show you what you can do with this type of information. Notice the software is just crunching data for you. Okay, notice that I just ran through 946 trades in under a minute. So if you were in TradeStation, you would have had to write 946 scripts with that easy language, or pay a consultant at $500 per script. Okay, so what did we learn? Let me show you again the fun part about trade ideas. Run again. simulate sell. So I learned that the buy was the tricky part. Okay, and recently they've been selling off, but I'm just showing you how we can visualize this data and see what is really going on. Now,
you also have
this,
your system set to very high commissions too, right? So you're paying $8 a trade, and then you're also paying 10 cents a share. So you've dialed up the commissions pretty high there.
do I have that? Where do you see that? Am I blind?
Yeah, close out. Yeah, just right over on the left-hand panel in the upper area. You
Oh
remember
yeah.
that. So,
Yikes.
and this is where you can also
Yikes.
define whether you're trading a share size, quantity, or a dollar value, right? So you can.
I forgot the criminals at Robinhood changed everything.
It's free.
It's free. Run again, you criminals. Did I go the wrong way? Yeah, I did. Sorry about that. Run again and sell. But it's easy if you know like how to work the system a little bit. You know, here you go. 946 trades, average winner, average loser. I don't like, but the point is that in our education, you're seeing the high level of how you interact with the data. But in our education, we show you how to dial this in via this thing. And then obviously you guys know, of course, including, look, this is the price. Which price points should you trade? Okay. Look, do you see what I mean? So do you go higher? Do you go lower? Time of day. Where do you make the most money? Okay. You might even need to do something like split it up or just trade after 9. In fact, let me do that real quick just for entertainment purposes only, Brad. So here I'm going to go 9, 11. Yikes, Brad. Why did you do that? And simulate sell. Okay, so we've at least changed that around, ran 551 tests, had some interesting results with one, obviously, bad day, but we're also holding it for a longer, for a period of time. And this is the stuff where you can keep changing this. You can say, okay, how about tomorrow? Okay, always a good one, right, Brad? Tomorrow, what's going tomorrow? Tomorrow is only a day away, Brad. Okay.
Okay, Annie.
Come on, Brad, I'm just trying. So these exercises that we're showing you right now, this is something that you do to help yourself understand how data and statistics are put together to give you an edge. And that's what ultimately, this is what the AI is about. Okay, this is how all these trades happen. EVK, going back to where we started, happened because we were able to find stocks that do this and then are more likely to come down. And this is how that trade took place. So I'm kind of going full circle right now and giving you a kind of beginning to end from concept and human interaction to full on computer automation. Okay, quick summary, guys. Obviously, you know, we have this channel bar. You can, anything you like, you can find it in the channel bar. Okay, explosive up moves. So every stock that is gaining big time, you're gonna see it in here. You're never gonna miss. Like you're never gonna miss the criminals of Robinhood raking away all their billions of dollars being criminals, because you're gonna see, look, we stole the money from the hood. And you're gonna see this thing, hood, just coming at you, right, Brad? All day long.
Just like that. By the way, you know, I know you were working on a standard deviation alert strategy, and I dropped in the chat something that I've had for quite some time. It's an optimized mean reversion strategy. So it does a great job of demonstrating the odds maker and what a really good strategy looks like. So I did drop it in there for all you guys if you want to run the odds maker on that.
Totally. So this channel bar is kind of like your Netflix. It's designed by us to help you really not miss anything and not need to configure, including things like earnings and of course earnings that are happening. Earnings season is usually very big. Barry, who's here in the room with us, does a fantastic job of covering that in his room, which I'll mention. But as I've been clicking away, the other thing the software does is it follows you. So these are the stocks that throughout my presenting with you for the Q&A, these are the various things that I've been clicking on, okay? EXPI, of course, we talked about that earlier. At various different times, I've clicked on these to see for whatever reason. Usually they could have been an AI trade or just something that we discussed, and I like that right here. And when I see something that I like, make a notation, and I go, see, it's very sophisticated stuff here, Brad. No, that's patented.
You're a numerologist, I see.
Yes, of course. And I go, okay. You can also create your own channels. I believe, Brad, is that done? Not in the doc yet, right?
Yeah, you can do it in the doc. You should be able to do it in either place. So you can you can create either a free floating channel, custom channel, or you can create a doc channel.
Right. No, but what I mean is, how do you add channels to your channel bar?
Yeah, what you want to do is you see where the D icon is?
Uh-huh.
Click on that D icon, either left or right click, and then you've got an
Ah,
edit custom channels option right there. So it's a
gotcha.
little bit different because we don't have the
A little
ability
bit
to
different.
curate.
I'm just not used to that. But you can be your own Netflix producer. These are layouts that I have depending on which monitor I have and things like that. And I've customized them all to myself. So this is all custom to you. Okay. And again, very easy to use, all done for you, nothing for you to do. We want you to spend more time just looking at ideas versus trying to spend all of your time creating them, okay? Including options data, where we track unusual call options volume or put options volume and total volume to give you some ideas of what's really, in play in the old Chicago Mercantile Exchange. All right, ladies and gentlemen, I think this is wrapping up our presentation today. I'm going to pop back into our PowerPoint. Is everyone able to see it? Brad, you see it pretty good?
Yep, that came back. We're on the test drive.
So as I mentioned earlier, of course, you've got the test drive coming up August 9th through the 20th. Recommended highly. It's filling up, and we're most likely going to be close to all-time highs in terms of people on there. So probably over 1,000 people that are going to be joining this test drive. You should do it. We have a product called Strength Alerts, which helps those that are working at other jobs and don't want to spend all their day in front of the computer like Brad and I do, except for when we're at the range. And you should look that up at trade-ideas.com/strength. Please do not subscribe to Trade Ideas. I like the stock. I mean, this slide so much, I have to move it up, Brad. Please.
He liked the stock too.
I beg you, do not subscribe to Trade Ideas if, and only if, $7.50 a day is too much money for you to spend on a product. If that is the case, I'm saving you so many psychiatry bills and other pains of emotions and telling you, don't subscribe to anything, and also possibly don't be in the market at all, because you will need to learn how to stomach some ups and downs. And the stock market gives you the ups and downs that you don't like to stomach. Brad and I both know.
Guaranteed.
Go ahead, Brad.
I was just going to say it's absolutely guaranteed. It's
guaranteed.
Everybody's different. Everybody has different emotions, but it's going to take you for a ride.
It will take you for a ride. So again, do not subscribe to Trade Ideas if you're afraid of $7.50 a day. If you can embrace that number smilingly, even though a lot of times we give you discounts to make that number even smaller. With client-facing AI and the things that we showed you, come on, you guys. There's nothing like our software on the market. You know it. We know it. Inc. 5000 knows it. the evil venture capitalists know it, and the evil Robinhood knows it. Everybody knows. So we give you a promo code today, summertime, all caps, 15% off your first month or a year off of Trade Ideas. Your choice. You can, of course, subscribe monthly or yearly and cancel at any time. The education, we discussed this before. The best in the business, the best people with the highest level of expertise in the software, some of them even better than myself. None of them better than Brad because he's just so good. But
Thank you, Dan.
certainly myself. Please, if you haven't used this, get on the schedule, trade-ideas.com/live. Barry, the master moderator who helps everybody all throughout the trading week with his room, the Trade Ideas Trading Room, a superb resource, regardless if you're trying to fine tune your technique or just dipping your toes. This is the place for you to be. I highly recommend you take a look, trade-ideas.com/trading room, all caps. We, of course, have a podcast. Mr. Sean McLaughlin handles that. He's been doing that for a long time, long enough to where we should have changed the slide, Brad, but we haven't. It's okay. Please search for Trade Ideas podcast on your favorite app and subscribe. And although Brad and myself and some of the other people at Trade Ideas have been completely banned from all social media because social media is afraid of us, we do appreciate your support on the various social medias that have banned us, including FaceTime Book and MySpace Place and all the other ones that I'm not even sure what they are, but you know what I'm talking about. Please like us there, TalkTick, Hands Chat. There's some other ones, Brad? I'm not even sure.
There are, but you know,
I've got them covered.
Yeah.
If you need to get a hold of the people that are still able to be on those medias, their call signs on Twitter are above. And of course, always shoot us an email. That's the easiest way to get started. And if you have to call, although it's much better to send an email, there's a number for you to do that as well. We thank you so much for your time on these Q&A webinars. You are a venture capitalist. You support us, and you have made us one of the very few companies in the United States that is now on the Inc. 5000 fastest growing companies for 5 years in a row. Boy, are we gonna get the phone calls, Brad. Hey, do you guys need some growth capital? Yeah, I can't wait.
Same answer. No, thank you.
Maybe Robinhood will call. Hi, we'd like to rob your hood as well. We've taken all the hoods already.
All right.
All right, Scott, take it away before I insult somebody else.
Yeah, I think you covered most everything. Just keep in mind, we got that test drive coming up next week, trade-ideas/test drive. And keep an eye out for that video replay. Thanks, everyone.
Bye, all.